I will call to order the regularly scheduled Concord Township Board of Trustees meeting for Wednesday, December 5th. Please join Amy Dawson in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could have everybody just continue standing for a moment of silence in honor of President George Herbert Walker Bush, who had his state service today. Thank you. And in honor of President Bush, I wore my George Herbert Walker Bush socks this evening. He was a man who loved his fun socks, so. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Luda?
Here.
Mr. Galloway?
Here.
Mr. Malcheski?
Present.
Okay, approval of minutes. You've got minutes in front of you, public hearing and regular meeting from the 7th. Any changes, corrections, or otherwise?
Nope, nope.
No, you guys are making the periods,
And commas and all
periods
that.
and commas.
There's no commas, just periods.
Okay, that is approved. That brings us to elected official reports. Fiscal Officer, Mrs. Dawson.
Thank you, Mr. Galloway. As of November 30th, we were 92% of the way through the calendar year. Treasury balance for the 19 active funds within the Township Treasury was $5.2 million. Treasury balance includes $77,000 in funds set aside for specific projects. Year-to-date expenditures of $9.7 million were 74% of the amount appropriated for 2018, and the revenue received year-to-date, $10 million, is 106% of the amount budgeted. We are well within budget this year. Finally, at least $3 million is needed for carryover until our first tax settlement at the end of the first quarter 2019. I'd also like to add, please feel free to join us on Saturday, the 15th of December at noon in the cemetery for a brief ceremony for wreaths across America. We'll be honoring all of our veterans' graves with wreaths that everybody in the township has so generously donated. So we are overwhelmed with the generosity of the township this year, and we'd like to thank you very much. And I'd like to say have a safe and festive holiday season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Malcheski.
I had nothing to report.
Mrs. Luda.
I have nothing to report.
Wow, okay.
Do you?
I'm going to go ahead and just not report anything, because then I'm going to feel sort of out of place here. Administration, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Galloway, members of the board, Mrs. Dawson, good evening. We are continuing to work on the zip code project. We also continue to work with several commercial real estate brokers to recruit new business to the township. At the next meeting on the 19th, the updated full-time firefighters contract will be presented for your consideration. And we would like to welcome the Verizon store located at 11129 Gold Court, and the other business, Sounds of Life Hearing Center, located at 8007 Auburn Road, Unit 1. We'd like to welcome them both to the township. They both recently opened, and we thank them for their investment in our community. And
Don't forget Peace, Love, and Little Donuts.
Yeah, Peace, Love, and Little Donuts actually was covered in the last report.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And they are doing quite well from what I understand, and that's what I know. So that concludes my report.
Okay. Fire Department, Chief Sabo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For the, so far in 2018, we have responded to 2,401 incidents. For the month of November, we had 117 EMS events with 101 transports. We had 77 fire events, including 5 fires, one of which was in Concord Township. That went very well. No family was displaced, and things, their lives weren't rocked too difficultly. And with 8 hazardous conditions. We gave mutual aid 23 times. We received mutual aid 7 times. And this month of November, we overlapped calls 45 times or 22.5%. Fire prevention was busy with 3 plan reviews, 14 annual inspections, 1 follow-up inspection, 12 fire protection system testings, 4 fire alarms, 1 consult, and 1 public event inspection. I believe that was the St. Gabe's Craft Fair. We did 3 installation of residential lock boxes. So we had a busy month of November. For the month of December, we want to remind everyone that winter residential building fires accounted for only 8% of the total number of fires in the U.S. Between 2014 and 2016. However, they resulted in 30% of all fire deaths and 23% of all fire injuries. Heating sources was the second leading cause of home fires after cooking. We want everyone to be safe by keeping a clear 3-foot radius around space heaters, have your chimney cleaned and inspected, and only burn seasoned wood. People have a tendency to put the Christmas wrapping in the fireplace. That builds up creosote, so that's what causes chimney fires. So we'd rather everyone be safe and enjoy their holiday season. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Sheriff's Department, Mr. Frank Kreska.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
With November came our first activity related to snow removal operations. Crews were dispatched on 5 occasions to treat township side streets as needed. In comparison, we only had 2 dispatches during the same period in 2017. For those viewing this evening, I would also like to take time to better inform residents that may be new to the area of the variety of snowplow services spanning our township. State routes 44, 90, 84, 86, and 608 are all under the care of the Ohio Department of Transportation. Lake County Engineers Road Department maintains the following secondary roads within the township. Those include Auburn, Girdle, Hermitage, Pinecrest, Morley, Prouty, Hoos, Ravenna, Cryle, the east side of Capitol Parkway, Chestnut, Old Johnny Cake, Button, Williams, and Carter Roads. Concord Service Department is responsible for a little over 71 straight line miles or close to 150 lane miles. For us, Concord is divided into 6 routes with each driver responsible for over 10 miles of road each. When required, we plow each road and only treat hills, curves, and intersections with de-icers. During a typical snow event, which requires at least two plow passes on any given route for a complete cleanup, it can be expected to take a full shift or 8 hours overall. Typically, in events that only require roads to be treated with de-icers, it should only take 3 or less hours. Residents should also keep in mind that if it is snowing significantly at the outset of our operation, snow can and will accumulate quickly over areas that may have already been plowed. Thus born the phrase, "I've not seen a snowplow all winter." Residents can also do their part by not plowing, shoveling, or blowing snow in the road or in neighbors' yards. Also, do not tailgate our snow plows, as they may have to make many maneuvers which will require your patience. During the last week in November, Major Waste Disposal Service collected 166 compacted yards of bagged leaves throughout the community, which in turn are composted at local nurseries. Composting has significant benefits. It can increase organic matter in your soil, helps plants absorb nutrients, makes clay soils more airy and drain better, helps sandy soils retain water, helps balance the pH of your soil, and can extend the growing season by moderating soil temperatures. And we can even help control soil erosion through the means of using compost. For residents that may still have some bagged leaves that they would like to have composted, we will continue to provide a drop-off container here at the Concord Service Department Monday through Friday until December 21st. So it is all about the winter for now. Concord is breathtaking after a new fallen snow. It is our little piece of heaven. Respect it and care for it. That is our goal, and that is our objective. In closing, it is still not too late to take advantage of our mailbox snow shield program. The cost is only $40 for materials and installation. Find this and other related information under Service Department tab at our website, www.concordtw.com, or call our office at 440-350-3225. Happy holidays to all, and stay safe on the roads by giving yourself extra time and your full attention. That's my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Good report. Zoning Department, Heather Freeman.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
During the month of November, the zoning department processed 19 zoning permit applications and collected roughly $2,900 in fees. Of those 19 permits, 4 were for fences, 4 new single-family dwellings, 4 additions to existing dwellings, 2 change in uses, 2 wall signs, 1 shed, 1 addition to an accessory building, and 1 residential structural alteration. Last night, the zoning commission met. At their meeting, they scheduled a public hearing that's going to take place at their January 8th, 2019 meeting at 7 p.m. for a proposed zoning map amendment application and preliminary plan approval for a proposed residential conservation development on a 24.6 acre piece of land that's located off of Winchell Road that directly abuts the Concord Ridge development, which is also a residential conservation development. Finally, the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for December has been canceled as there were no applications submitted for review. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, Zach Nebraska. How are we?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thanks to everyone who attended Concord Township's first annual Christmas tree lighting celebration last Friday evening. Excitement was building as the trustees warmly welcomed guests and began the countdown for the tree lighting. Concord Township Citizen of the Year, Betty Leiby, pressed the button to light the beautiful tree generously donated by Mountain Creek Tree Farm in Concord Township. A few carols were sung by the Maple Mountain Chorus, and the arrival of Santa and Mrs. Claus by fire truck. Everyone headed inside Town Hall to continue the festivities, including personal visits with Santa and his lovely wife, Mrs. Claus, who will be back in town later this month for a children's program. Guests were also treated to a few more songs by the chorus, hot cocoa, homemade cookies. Children had the opportunity to create crafts with the staff from Morley and Mentor Public Library. They wrote letters to Santa that were already delivered to the big guy. Special thanks to the Concord Garden Club for donating funds to help decorate the gazebo, and Concord resident Robert Aspinwall for donating sturdy lights that helped beautifully illuminate the campus. Now, before Santa left, he gave me a list. Santa shared this with me. It contains the names of the children in Concord Township that made Santa's nice list. So we at the Recreation Department cross-referenced this list with the children who live in Concord Township, and I am here to report, thrilled to report, that all Concord Township kids made the list. Santa was so impressed, and he asked me to share this nice list with our trustees. So I humbly
Thank you.
submit it.
That's the chair, the list.
Okay, I'm gonna review this and double check that Emma and Danny are on this.
That's right. Absolutely. We'll also have that list available at the Christmas program coming up. Mrs. Claus returns to Concord Township on Saturday, December 15th, when the Recreation Department hosts our annual Children's Holiday Program, Letters to Santa with Mrs. Claus at the Old Stone School. Mrs. Claus will help kids write letters to Santa, read an old-fashioned Christmas story, and enjoy cookies and warm cocoa and savor the charm of the Old Stone School. There are still a couple of seats left for the program, so people can register today at www.concordtwp.com. If you decorate your home for the holidays, consider entering our 9th annual Light Up Concord House Decorating Contest. Categories include traditional reds and greens, all white lights, lights set to music, and the popular Clark Griswold category for those who are especially enthusiastic with their holiday decorations. Entry forms are available on our website, at Town Hall, or the Community Center. Any home or business in Concord Township is eligible to be nominated and win. You can vote for your favorites through our website and Facebook page, December 11th through the 19th, and winners will be announced on December 20th. This afternoon, the Recreation Department hosted our legendary holiday bingo for our 55-plus group. The competition was fierce but very friendly, and then everybody enjoyed cookies and cupcakes. Our next 55-plus event is our annual holiday luncheon on Wednesday, December 19th, beginning promptly at noon at the Community Center. The Crews and Crooners will provide entertainment along with their much-loved and equally hilarious rendition of the 12 Days of Christmas, crooner style, where audience participation is heartily encouraged. There are only a few seats left, so contact the Recreation Department soon if you would like to attend. The Recreation Department's been hard at work planning enjoyable and useful classes for the winter-spring 2019 semester. You can find them in the new edition of the Grapevine, our township newsletter, in everyone's mailbox in early January. For details about any recreation class or event, please contact us directly at 440-639-4650 or visit the township's website. And in closing, I just want to take a brief moment to thank the Board of Trustees, our fiscal officer, our administrator, and our legal counsel for their dedicated and inspiring leadership. Thank you for believing that recreation is vital to Concord Township and supporting everything we do. We couldn't be more thankful to work for an awesome team and a vibrant township. So on behalf of everybody at the Recreation Department, joyous holidays, and thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I must say, to say so publicly, beyond just say on social media, but you and your staff did a great job with the first Christmas tree lighting. I heard nothing but praise from the, I don't know, couple hundred residents that showed up and enjoyed it, and so big kudos to you and the team for everything you guys did in putting that together. It was
Very well done.
really wonderful.
This room, this building was filled with people. I didn't think that many people fit in here. It was packed, and they were waiting to
Don't
get
tell
in.
the chief.
I think he was here eating cookies.
Yeah. And I'm glad it's a first annual event.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to
Yes.
next year. Already, we are. That brings us to Concord Law Enforcement. Chief Liam Bruno, AKA the Grinch.
Oh, since when?
Well, we are investigating a complaint by Chris Kringle, who's missing a listing of good, naughty, and nice children from this area. For the month of November, we had 771 billable hours that Concord paid for, and we were here an additional 321 hours in the township on various investigations and follow-up calls for a total of 1,092 hours the sheriff's office spent in Concord Township, which of that was 1,203 calls for service. We handled 2 injury accidents, 14 property damage accidents. We had an arrest for possession of drugs, a disorderly conduct, a domestic violence arrest, and a warrant arrest. We visited 253 businesses during November, handled 65 alarm drops or responses to alarms in Concord. And we did 177 crime prevention interactions where we looked for open doors, lights on inside of vehicles and such. We've increased for the holiday season traffic enforcement, so we had 113 warnings in Concord Township and issued 13 citations. We had 6 driving under suspensions, 3 DUIs, and we have 2 burglary investigations, one on Auburn Road and one on Alicia Court, a sex offense in Summerwood, and 8 theft offenses in Concord Township that we're currently investigating. I'm not an astrophysicist, but I did stay in the Holiday Inn Express last night, so I'm going to talk a little bit about speed and surfaces. It's the winter driving season. I came today from Perry, and Perry Village had about 7 inches of snow in it to here where there was not as much snow in terms of traveling. So what that means is we're in that time of year, we're experiencing black ice, which has caused any number of locations. We have a lot of dips in different weather patterns on our roads. It's always bad to find out you're on black ice when you're in the middle of a skid. So we ask everyone to slow down, take their time on turns. Studies have been done in terms of speed. And in one of the most recent studies, in a under 500 miles, if you go 10 miles over the speed limit, you're going to save about, on an hour's drive, about 12 minutes. And that's if you hit no lights, that's if you hit no bad traffic. All of those can affect your speed, your time of arrival. So end all be all, it's not worth driving fast, certainly not 10 miles an hour over. In the cost in terms of property damage to your car, other people's, is not worth that risk. So we ask everyone to slow down, especially during this winter months. Also, now that everybody has the electronic cars, during this time of year, you're noticing your tires are deflated because you're getting those alarms. And that's from, obviously, the cold weather that shrinks your tires, inflation.
Will you tell Roger Goodell that? Because that's what Tom Brady's argument was.
I did. Well, there you go. And so, as you speed up, your tires warm up and do increase a little bit on inflation, but we ask everybody to keep your tires inflated so that you can handle the ice and snow better.
Thanks, Chief. Okay. That's going to bring us to the audience portion. Anybody like to address the board on any township matters? Okay, there is no old business. That's going to bring us to new business. And the first thing we need to do is approve the November financial statements, which were dutifully provided by our fiscal officer.
I move that we approve the November financial statements.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I also make a motion to approve the 2019 temporary appropriations. That would be resolution 2018-33.
I second.
Okay, any questions or anything to inquire with Mrs. Dawson on that, which is before us? On that matter?
So these are appropriations that take place on January 1st, basically through March 31st, or until the permanent appropriations for next year are voted upon once I have the budget figures for next year. So, and I'm estimating we're going to spend about 4.5, we won't exceed spending $4.5 million in the first quarter of next year. And I will need a roll call vote on that, please.
And you shall have one.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. I need a roll call, please.
Mrs. Luda,
Yes.
Mr. Malczewski,
Yes.
Mr. Galloway.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, thanks for taking that off the docket.
So my apologies for missing that earlier.
Okay, one of the duties of this body is we need to appoint a member to the Concord-Painesville Joint Economic Development District Board. The term for myself is up as Concord's representative, and under the rules of our board, I have served the maximum number of terms that is allowed. So as of December 31st, that will be my last day as the Concord representative on the JED board. So we need to appoint a new member as Concord's representative to that board, and so I am recommending that we appoint Concord resident Jim O'Leary to that position. And I've spoken with him, and he is agreed to serve if nominated and appointed by this body effective January 1st. So I would need, if agreeable by both of you, a motion to appoint Mr. O'Leary as the Concord Township representative on the Joint Economic Development District Board, effective January 1st, 2019.
I so move.
Second, he sits there as the chairman now.
He is the chairman now, yes.
And how long is the term?
Term is 4 years,
Okay.
and you may serve 2 terms.
Okay.
And it would provide for some continuity.
Mhm.
So let's do a roll call on that as well. So, sorry, you're still over there writing.
I'm sorry, I am. Mrs. Luda,
Yes.
Mr. Malczewski.
Yes.
Mr. Galloway.
Yes. Okay.
I've caught up now.
All good. So now we've got some fire department hires. Paul, you want to handle handling the motions on those?
I'd make a motion to make a conditional offer of employment to full-time fire safety inspector Stephen Baum, pending background check and physical.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to hire as a conditional offer of employment to part-time firefighter EMT basic Walter Jackson, pending background check and physical.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to make a conditional offer of employment to part-time firefighter EMT basic Daniel Lalito, pending background check and physical.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, I'm rolling there. I might as well purchase something for the service department.
If you want to, I was going to have Connie do
I
it.
did
But
make
you
a-
can keep rocking.
Motion to approve PO 64-2018 to ECM Contractors, the amount of $6,200 for service department lighting improvements, and this is through a NOPAC grant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Along with that, and including that NOPAC grant, I would make a motion to approve PO 65-2018 to Lake County Door in the amount of $4,175 for that service department,
Garage door.
garage door improvement.
No pet grant as well.
And Mr. Kraska has already received approval
Okay.
for the reimbursement from NOPEC for these
I'll second that.
purchases.
And that is that R-rated 17.5 door, as we learned yesterday. Very good, yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that both those grants and using those dollars and funds, I thought we were eliminating more than half the lights. And then the current lights would provide better lighting as well as more efficient and cheaper electric bill. And the same thing with the garage door. It just, again, in the long run, it saves us a bunch of money.
Okay. And for the zoning department, I would move that we do a conditional offer of employment to Assistant Zoning Inspector and Planning Technician Martin Pitkin at an annual salary of $38,000 pending completion of new hire paperwork.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
And we have
Get Heather some help down there.
right. And we have
And then we have H point A or B or
Two.
whatever we want to
Or
do.
we can just move them.
H point
You can
two.
insert an I and
That's right. So this would be a vote on the public hearing that was just
Okay.
before us. Assuming you guys would like to move forward with the vote.
let's do that.
Okay. All right, I would entertain any comments,
How about I make a motion and we can get a second? As this board is aware of, you have to make these motions in affirmative, and so I would make a motion under application 1018-4 by the Summers Real Estate Group LLC. In the affirmative, to make an amendment to the 8.636 acres of land on Concord Hamden Road, currently known as permanent parcel number 8A13-2 and 8A13-3, it's commonly known, from the current zoning district of Town Hall neighborhood to the R1 residential district.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Amy, those are for you.
thank you.
I guess whether discussion or some comments, the concern and argument for the preservation of commercial property certainly is something that I agree on doing. However, this piece is an unusual piece. It's a transition piece where we have the beginning of it starts at the entrance of Quail Hollow and Hunter's Trail. It extends east to the nursery property directly across the street from us. It abuts obviously Hunting Lake, and so it's not certainly not enough buffer for, at least in my opinion, the residential zoning in that R2 PUD. R2 PUD is generally much denser. R3 to the west of that is actually more dense than the R2. What we're talking about, the amendment here is to an R1, which is not as dense as either one of those. And so that should alleviate any of the stormwater concerns. My concern is also if you put a piece of commercial property there, you're looking at a large parking lot and non-porous surface, and then again, there are stormwater concerns there. So it appears to be the right fit and character for that particular neighborhood, which I think ultimately requires us to be more protective of other commercial pieces or look for additional commercial pieces in the future, which this board seems to do quite often.
I have the same concerns, and I think you've stated them very well. I have nothing really to add.
As you know, I was opposed to the rezoning of the parcel to the north from THN to R1. I felt it was spot zoning, as well as more that side of the north side of that road was better served with some commercial. Although I don't have, and in that I voiced, I guess, a general level of comfort with a residential component to the parcels in front of us. I don't have any objection to this rezoning from THN to R1. I will, however, disagree with your statements and your concurrence with those statements on the record as it relates to future considerations within the bordering THC district. I believe that the buffers that we have in place are solid. I believe the stormwater plans that we have in place are solid as they relate to commercial bordering up on residential. And I would have had no necessary objections. I mean, obviously some of that comes down to site plan review as it relates to these parcels, had somebody chosen to develop them commercially. I don't share your concerns as it relates to that. I do understand that this is a good transition. This is all a transition area, both categories, THN and THC. But I would point out for the record that I believe that the text and the buffers and the regulations that we have in place would adequately, be it parking lots or otherwise, protect the R2 PUD zoned property that borders both these classifications. So let's go ahead and have a roll call on this.
I knew that was coming.
It's a roll call.
Mr. Malczewski?
Yes.
Mrs. Luda?
Yes.
Mr. Galloway?
Yes. All right. Future meetings and announcements, Mrs. Dawson.
Okay, on Wednesday, December 12th at 7 PM, the previously scheduled Board of Zoning Appeals meeting has been canceled. On Friday, December 14th at 8 AM, there'll be a JED board meeting here at Town Hall. On December 17th at 10 AM, there'll be a special meeting for the trustees who will go into executive session to discuss performance evaluations. And on Wednesday, December 19th at 6:30 PM, trustee office hours will be held here at the conference room. 7:30 PM, trustee meeting here at Town Hall.
And a reminder, on Saturday the 15th at the cemetery, we have
Race Across America,
at noon.
noon,
At noon.
immediately following Deb's thing at the schoolhouse at 11 o'clock.
Rain, shine, or blizzard,
We will be placing those wreaths at
It's
the
happening.
veterans' graves.
we hope you'll join us.
Yes.
And to all our friends in the Jewish community, happy Hanukkah. And hope everybody has a safe couple of weeks, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.